Hello, everybody. I came back tonight to do our reading again tonight. Also, I wanted to tell y'all I'm gonna redo my locks this weekend. Take this old hair out so I can show y'all my progress. I think my hair ends about right here. On this one at least. So I'm gonna see how they look without the extensions in, and hopefully I probably put it back up and have just one color, I don't know, but yeah, I think it ends about right there. So I got a bit of length, but it's been, I think I did these in I started the twist, I started the dreads or the lock in October of 21. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I've been maintaining. They've been a blessing too. I get ready for work so fast. It doesn't take me any time anymore. And I just feel free. That's okay, baby. He'll be back. PJ ran off. That's why we call him Pimp PJ. Pimp juice. That's what he do. It's springtime, so I try to keep him in the yard, but it's very difficult. Very difficult. But anyway, I'm gonna do these on live. I think I'm gonna take them out, take all the hair out tomorrow, and then probably color it. I'm thinking maybe like a cinnamon. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I want to see how they look without any hair. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. I need a little more hang time. So, but anyway, it's not really about the looks. It's actually because of the feeling of freedom that I have. I'm not always worried about my hair. It's really carefree. Some people don't care for the style, but that's not what it's about. It's about me being free and not always having to worry about what I'm going to do to my hair. And that's a real issue for a lot of women. Like, that's a big part of their lives. It was a big part of my life. Trying to figure out what to do with my hair. So I'm glad to be free from that. But anyway, the real reason I'm on here is to get into the word with y'all tonight. I'm going to go back to Maccabees. We ended at last night. We ended at 6, I think. Here we are. this around. I hope to see some of my folks on here tonight, but if I don't, then maybe you'll catch it later. I understand. Yeah, we ended at 4. That was Ecclesiasticus. We ended at 7. I mean at 8. Okay, so in 3, we met Yehuda, the son of oh my goodness, the son of Mattityahu, and he and his men, his brothers, they all defended the Torah, and they killed a lot of the king's men when he would try to attack them. You know, all they were doing was trying to uphold the customs of Elohim that he taught them, and trying to defend his Torah. But the wicked king Antiochus was determined to have everybody to worship him, basically. So just like all the other wicked kings did Israel. But this is for First Maccabees, and again, Maccabees means hammer, and that was the family chosen to defend God's Torah in 2nd century BC. Then Georgius is a friend of the king, one of the king's friends. The first friend went out and was defeated. And so this is the second friend, Georgius. So he took 5,000 footmen and 1,000 of the best horsemen and removed out of the camp by night, to the end he might rush in upon the camp of Yehudim and smite them suddenly. And the men of the fortress were his guides. Now when Yehuda heard thereof, he himself removed, and the valiant men with him, that he might smite the king's army which was at Yemim. And again, that's Yemim is speaking of animals which are of mixed species, the mixing together of the species. And that's men with animals, and different types of species, tigers and alligators mixed together, stuff like that. And so, I mean, that's what they did back then in Yemim. That's why they named this place Yemim, because that is what they called those animals that were mixed species. So, while as yet the forces were dispersed from the camp, in the mean season came Georgius by night into the camp of Yehuda, and when he had found no man there, he sought them in the mountains, for, said he, these fellows flee from us. So Georgius thought that they were running from him, but they were making a plan, right? But as it was day, Yehuda showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men, who nevertheless neither had armor nor swords up to their minds. And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about with horsemen, and these were expert of war. Then said Yehuda to the men that were with him, fear ye not their multitude, neither be afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered. in the Red Sea, when Pharaoh pursued them with an army. Now therefore let us cry unto heaven, if perchance Yahuwah will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our faces this day, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivers and saves Yasharel. Then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them. Wherefore they went out of the camp to battle, but they that were with Yehuda sounded their shofars. So they joined the battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain. Howbeit all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword, for they pursued them unto Gazam, and unto the plains of Edom, and Ashdod, and Yavneel, so that there were slain of them upon 3,000 men. This done, Yehuda returned again with his hosts from pursuing them, and said to the people, Be not greedy for the spoil, inasmuch as there is a battle before us, and Georgius and his hosts are here by us in the mountain. But stand ye not against our enemies and overcome them. Stand ye now against our enemies and overcome them, and after this ye may boldly take the spoils. As Yehuda was yet speaking these words, there appeared a part of them looking out of the mountain, who when they perceived that the Yehudim, that was Judah and them and the rest of the Judeans, had put their hosts to flight and were burning the tents, for the smoke that was seen declared what was done. Then therefore they perceived these, when they therefore perceived these things, they were sore afraid. And seeing also the host of Yehuda in the plain ready to fight, they fled everyone into the land. Wait a minute. They fled everyone into the land of strangers. Then Yehuda returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk and purple of the sea and great riches. After this they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving and praised Yahuwah in heaven. I just want to reiterate that Yahuwah it literally means, I am he that breathes life. Behold the nailed hands. And this name Yahuwah is all throughout, from Genesis to all the way to Revelation, I believe, in the Sefer. So again, Yahushua HaMashiach was always with Yahuwah. They are one. As he said, I and the Father are one, and the Holy Spirit. So after this they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving and praised Yahuwah in heaven, because he is good, because his mercy endures forever. Thus Yasharel had a great deliverance that day. Now all the strangers that had escaped came and told Lysias what had happened. That's another one of the king's friends, the wicked king Antiochus, who when he heard thereof was confounded and discouraged, because neither such things as he would were done unto Yasharel. None of his plans succeeded against them, of course. nor such things as the king commanded him were come to pass. The next year, therefore, following Lysias, gathered together 70,000 choice men of foot and 5,000 horsemen, that he might subdue them. So they came into Edom and pitched their tents at Bet Surah, and Yehuda met them with 10,000 men. And when he saw that the mighty army, he prayed and said, Blessed are you, O Savior of Yasharel, who did quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of your servant David, and gave the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor bearer. Shut up this army in the hand of your people Yasharel, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen. Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. Cast them down with the sword of them that love you, and let all those that know your name praise you with thanksgiving. So they joined the battle, and there were slain of the hosts of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Yehuda's soldiers, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, he went into Antioch and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Yehuda. Then said Yehuda and his brothers, Behold, our enemies are comforted. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. So at this point, Yehuda and his brethren, the soldiers, they weren't even worried about them anymore. They went up to the sanctuary. So upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Sion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up, and the shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest, or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priests' chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes, and made great lamentation, and cast ashes upon their heads, and fell flat unto the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the shofars, and cried toward heaven. Then Yehuda appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress, until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the Torah. He cleansed the sanctuary and bore out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of ascending smoke offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it. Therefore they pulled it down, and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a covenant place, or in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the Torah, and built a new altar according to the former, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple, and hallowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the menorah, and the altar of ascending smoke offerings, and of incense, and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the menorah they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table, and spread out the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month of Kislev, in the 148th year, they rose up early in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the Torah upon the new altar of ascending smoke offerings. I think that's Hanukkah. Because I counted, I think April's the first month on the Hebrew calendar. So that would make December the 9th month. And the 25th day, of course, is what is considered Christmas around here. But the point is they restored the temple and the sanctuary. So they weren't just fighting for nothing. That's the reason, that's the very reason Yehuda was filled with zeal and decided to fight for the Torah and to fight for the customs of Elohim. Is because he saw the abomination of desolation set up in the temple, and he saw the heathens, the pagan, the pagans, they were sacrificing unclean sacrifices on God's altar. And that's when Yehuda started killing them. But it wasn't for nothing, because they went back to the temple and the sanctuary to rebuild everything. And by the time they got back there, it was overgrown. So this wasn't quick. It was still in the second century BC. But let me see. Years went by, basically, while he was fighting Antiochus and his people off from the temple in Jerusalem. So they offered sacrifice according to the Torah upon the new altar of ascending smoke offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all of the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the Elohim of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar. For 8 days, and offered ascending smoke offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. So I'm going to tell y'all, on the 25th of December is when they started to sacrifice these unclean meats and all these unclean things on the altar of Elohim. And so they cleansed that altar for 8 days. When they finally were able to go back to the temple and sacrifice and follow the custom of Yahuwah. So they offered for 8 days ascending smoke offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Yehuda and his brethren, with the whole assembly of Yasharel, ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month of Kislev, with mirth and gladness. At that time also they built up Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers around about it, lest the other nations should come and tread it down as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bet Sarah to guard it, that the people might have a defense against Edom. So we'll come back tomorrow. That's something to chew on. They weren't very many, and if you were listening, they didn't have all the weapons of war that the heathen army had. But they didn't need it because Elohim, it was him who empowered them. So we'll come back and read 5 tomorrow. It's a little bit longer. It's about 2.5 pages long. And go to Ecclesiasticus. Yeah, we ended at 7. Do no evil. See, this is Ecclesiasticus. It's another lost book that was in the original Ethiopian Sefer, which has been translated into English and a bit of Hebrew. Do no evil, so that no harm come upon you. Depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from you. My son, sow not upon the furrows of unrighteousness, and you shall not reap them sevenfold. Seek not of Yahuwah preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor. Justify not yourself before Yahuwah, and boast not of your wisdom before the king. Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time you fear the person of the mighty, a stumbling block in the way of your uprightness. Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time you fear the person of the mighty, a stumbling block in the way of your uprightness. I had to read that again. Offend not against the multitude of a city, and then you shall not cast yourself down among the people. Bind not one sin upon another, for in one you shall not be unpunished. Say not, Elohim will look upon the multitude of my oblations, and when I offer it to Elohim, he will accept it. Be not faint-hearted when you make your prayer, and neglect not to give alms. Laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul, for there is one which humbles and exalts. Devise not a lie against your brother, neither do the like to your friend. Use not to make any manner of a lie, for the custom thereof is not good. Use not many words in a multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when you pray. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which Elion has ordained. Number not yourself among the multitude of sinners, but remember that wrath will not tarry long. Humble yourself greatly, for the vengeance of the wicked is fire and worms. Change not a friend for any good by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir. Forgo not a wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. If you find one, better hold on to her. It ain't that many. Whereas your servant works truly, entreat him not evil, nor the hireling that bestows himself wholly for you. Let your soul love a good servant, and defraud him not of liberty. Have you cattle? Keep an eye to them, and if they be for your profit, keep them with you. Have you children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Have you daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not yourself cheerful toward them. Marry your daughter, and so shall you have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. Have you a woman after your mind? Forsake her not, but give not yourself over to a light woman. Honor your father with your whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of your mother. Remember that you were begotten of them. How can you recompense them the things that they have done for you? Fear Yahuwah with all of your soul, and reverence his priests. Love him that made you with all your strength, and forsake not his ministers. Fear Yahuwah and honor the priests, and give them his portion, as it is commanded you, the first fruits and the trespass offering, and the gift of the shoulders, and the sacrifice of sanctification, and the first fruits of holy things. And stretch your hand unto the poor, that your blessing may be perfected. A gift has grace in the sight of every man living, and for the dead detain it not. Fail not to be with them that weep and mourn. Fail not to be with them that weep and mourn, with them that mourn. Be not slow to visit the sick, for that shall make you to be beloved. Whatsoever you take in hand, remember the end, and you shall never do amiss. We'll go ahead and go into 8 because I read 7 over again. I read it last night. Strive not with a mighty man, unless you'll fall into his hands. Be not a variance with a rich man, lest he overweigh you, for gold has destroyed many and perverted the hearts of kings. Strive not with a man that is full of tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Jest not with a rude man, lest your ancestors be disgraced. Reproach not a man that turns from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. Dishonor not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. Rejoice not over your greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we all die. Despise not discourse of the discourse of the wise, but acquaint yourself with their proverbs. For of them you shall learn Torah, and how to serve great men with ease. Miss not the discourse of elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them you shall learn understanding, and to give answer as it needs required. Kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest you be burnt with the flame of his fire. Rise not up in anger at the presence of an injurious person, lest he lie in wait to entrap you in your words. Lend not unto him that is mightier than yourself, for if you lend him, count it but a loss. Be not surety above your power, for if you be surety, take care to pay it. Go not to law with the judge, for they will judge for him according to his honor. Travel not by the way with the bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto you. For he will do according to his own will, and you will perish and with him through his folly. Strive not with an angry man, and go not with him into a solitary place, for blood is as nothing in his sight, and where there is no help he will overthrow you. Consult not with the fool, for he cannot keep counsel. Do no secret thing before a stranger, for you know not what he will bring forth. Open not your heart to every man, lest he requite you with a shrewd turn. Some more instructions for life, and they all make a lot of sense to me. But I'm not going to stay on here long tonight. But hopefully some people will get on here and read this word of Elohim that's been sealed up for the end times, which we're living in right now. And so he's crying out. That's why he's having people to expose people to these scriptures that have been hidden for centuries. So, again, we are all his sheep, and we're all accountable to the sheep, to feed the sheep. And these books are very important for your life in these last days. What the world is doing right now is very not important. It's very unimportant to Elohim. Any friend of the world is an enemy to Elohim. Know that. He's not just saying that just to be saying it. The world system is a beast. So any friend of the world is an enemy to Yahuwah. he that breathes life. Behold his nailed hands. His name is Yahuwah from the beginning to the end. Here's Genesis. Elohim, 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 Elohim. Elohim is plural. It's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He made us in his image. That's why we have a soul, the flesh, and the spirit. The body, the flesh, and the spirit. The body, the soul, and the spirit. Flesh and the soul are the same thing. That's why Yahushua HaMashiach is called the soul of Elohim. Because he came in the flesh. And he's the only one that followed all the laws of the Torah. He fulfilled all the laws of the Torah. That's why he was worthy to die for the sins of the world and to be raised again on the third day and to come back in victory and gather his people. So Elohim, 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 Elohim. And then right here, thus this is Genesis, the second chapter. Thus the heavens and earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. And these are the generations of the heaven and the earth when they were created. In that day Yahuwah Elohim made the heaven and the earth, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. (26) 1:26 says, and Elohim said, Elohim, remember that's plural, the creator of the world, the creator of heaven and earth. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And what is his likeness? Body, soul, and spirit. I am he who breathes life. Behold the nailed hands. That's what Yahuwah literally means. Behold the nailed hands. I am he who breathes life. Behold the nailed hands. Yahuwah Elohim formed the man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living soul. So, from Genesis, I haven't looked at Revelation since I've been in here. The Son of Elohim, the soul, the one who came in the flesh. The revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach. $16.28. Oh, it's over here. Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu. There's so much that we don't know, but it's all in here. It's all in here. All we have to do is read. If God bless you with the gift of reading, read. Read His Word. That's why He breathed it out for the prophets to write it down. Yeah.
Can I have some NyQuil?
It's on the table in there, baby.
That's Dayquil.
Well, I don't have that. I don't have NyQuil. I have Dayquil. It makes you sleepy.
No, I took some earlier before I went to school.
Yahuwah's voice cries unto the city, and the man of wisdom shall see your name. Hear ye the rod, and who has appointed it? Are there yet the treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked, and the scant measure that is abominable? Yeah, we better recognize, because it's the end of times. But we'll come back tomorrow, if God's willing. He's the only hope we have. And I'm just doing what He's told me to do. And I'm happy to do it. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good night.